بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Du'as of afia and barakah for everybody, inshallah ta'ala, attending. Assalamu alaikum, Gosh. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm doing well. It's been a long time since me and you have done something together here, isn't it?
Yes, it's been a long time, but alhamdulillah. I'm glad that, alhamdulillah, today we both had time to come do this important, inshallah, discussion. Aisha, I'd like to, for you to take the start with du'as. And inshallah, because the topic is very close to heart. You are a parent, I'm a parent. We have our parenting tribe with us in our WhatsApp groups. We are having these discussions of how heavily the situation is weighing on our hearts, what to do, how to talk to our children, how to console them, how to console ourselves. We're talking about this collective trauma that's happening. So I we couldn't just gloss over it. We just couldn't say that, um just deal with it separately. We are a
Mhm.
community. The whole idea of parenting with Allah by my side, your parenting tribe, is to cater to what's important. Alhamdulillah. So, inshallah ta'ala, Bismillah. I'll hear your thoughts first.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. I think over the last few weeks, especially the last 2 weeks, we have collectively been offering some circles for our parents, for our women that are not parents as well, but want to be parents in the future, so that they can come to us and we can all discuss together, like, what is it that they're really struggling with in regards to the situation that's happening. We all know what we're talking about there. And a lot of them actually bring up the topic of how do we tell our children and how do we tell them the truth, but in a digestible way. And and especially in the one that I hosted last week, or earlier this week, should I say, one of the things I always recommend is getting facts straight with yourself first, and understanding what you feel about it first. Because sometimes I think what we're seeing is we're struggling to kind of articulate how we're feeling. And so when our children are seeing that, how are we supposed to teach them something which we don't understand ourselves? So I like to recommend the emotional wheel. If you type it into Google, you'll find different variations of emotional wheels, and all it is a whole wheel of different. There's core emotions at the beginning, and then it branches out to different emotions to explain that. So, for example, if we look at the word fear or scared, should I say, it goes into things like fear, and then it goes into things like rage, um, and anxiety. And so you're able to figure out, okay, I feel sad. What are the emotions of sadness do I feel? Because sadness is very broad, happiness is very broad. And that's allowed me as an individual to figure out what I feel. And then when I want to articulate that to someone else, I have better words. So two in one here. Vocabulary is expanding, and I'm able to articulate. This is the word I need to use to show you how I feel, to explain how I feel, and that's really helped me as a person. And if you have all the children that you are speaking to about the situation, I recommend you giving them the same thing as well, so that they can choose the words to relate to you what their emotions are. But the second thing is, I think we have, as a collective, we have a lot of guilt of what we're seeing and what we're not sharing as well. And I recommended to some people to stop watching the news, to the videos specifically, if it is affecting you to a degree where you feel extremely triggered. So one woman described how her um, teenage daughter had already gone through a loss of someone in her life, and seeing the videos and the images had triggered that feeling again. She had lost a parent, and it was really, really upsetting to be able to nurse her, because she herself felt some type of way. And so we need to censor our children in that way, but also be having very open and honest discussions about what is happening. And the way I like to do that, as I was doing yesterday myself, is understanding history. Understanding history. So if you have small children, and small meaning even from 5 plus years, I would say, or seven even, I recommend you teaching the history to them. So very small lessons, nothing extensive, nothing that discriminates anyone. And the reason I say that is because they're still trying to understand what's going on, and you keep it as simple as possible to them, because they will not understand, religiosity. They're not going to understand to a degree who Allah is the way you will understand. And that's really important, that we don't implement our beliefs into them 100% yet, because they're not going to understand some aspects. So, because there are going to be questions that come up for children, like, why is God not helping those people? Those type of theological questions will come up for them. And if you are going to teach them in such a way, you have to have those answers. And if you don't have them right now, starting off with simple stories like Isra wal Mi'raj, the night journey of the Prophet. Why does Bayt al Maqdis or Al Aqsa, the area, the vicinity, why is it so sacred to Muslims or to us? And giving them genuine history facts that we find from our Islamic tradition and the Quran, and for them to understand the hurt as they're growing older, to teach them more so that they understand the underlying hurt that we are all feeling. And then for us as parents, because we are the first responsibility to those children, it's important that we address our own feelings. So first of all, identifying the feelings that we have, and then trying to understand where those feelings reside in our bodies and where they come from based on our experience. We need to be able to soothe ourselves as well. Because if we are talking about us being parents, parents are emotional regulators for children. But if you cannot register and regulate your own emotions, how are you expected to regulate a child's emotions? So, what tasks are you doing to regulate yourself on a daily basis? Those these questions are really important for us to ask. Like, what question and what tasks am I doing every day to honor the emotions that are coming up for me? And I think that's where we're struggling with, where yes, we may have increased our Quran and our Salah, and that's amazing, but there also has to be our psychological roots that we go down through, which are part of Islam as well. Like, how are we dealing with it? Are we talking to people? Are we sharing our emotional states with people? Are we taking advantage of the resources that we have out here, even like our own group chat that we have? Because there are going to be people that say, you need to share as much as possible, but we don't know each and every person's individual circumstance as well. What do you think about this, Iram? I think you agree, right?
Everything, with everything. I actually just made the pointers and I put it in the chat box so that somebody who comes later, if they just read the gist of it, they will understand what we are talking about. And alhamdulillah, and I'm so glad that I asked you to start.
You're a true
Alhamdulillah.
student for making those points straight away. True
Yeah,
student.
because this is important. This is important, and yes, absolutely right. Take a break from it because listen, you and I, we honestly we don't have the strength, and we cannot even begin to imagine if it was me how I would have reacted or interacted. We need our children. So this is the focus. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us to a part in this life, in this dunya. We are in a worldwide event. This will go down in history. This is the moment for the Muslim ummah to come back to the Quran.
Mm-hmm.
Khalas, all the glasses, all the tinted glasses are off.
Yeah.
You know exactly what the others see the Muslim Ummah as. You know where humanity lies. You understand now what the hypocrisies are and what the truth is and how scared we. I'm not even going to point fingers at anybody. I'm just going to talk about me. Me as a Muslim woman. Where is my iman? Where is my tawakkul? Where is my tawheed? Where is my idea of going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What have I done in my life, and what do I plan to do? If as a Muslim parent, as a Muslim woman, as a Muslim wife, as a Muslim mother, daughter, whatever, in whatever relationships Allah has blessed me with, if I am not cognizant of returning back to Allah, and while witnessing the atrocities that is happening, Allah will ask, you know what? I did not want you to go to there. I did not want you to be there. You were where you were supposed to be. I put you where you were supposed to be. What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Good question.
How did you raise your children? Did you come back to instilling iman in your heart and your child's? You know, I was thinking about this, Aisha, and living in the States. I don't know about UK because you're born brought up there. So you were the yani UK kid with Pakistani ethnicity. I'm the immigrant, and I'm raising and I'm raising American Muslims, right?
Yeah.
And as a parent coach, when I started off, and I hear this much, oh, you're brown, oh, you're a brown parent, oh, you don't know, oh, you desi parents. Yes, yes, there is mimicry to it, and yes, there is stigma to it, and yes, there is yani we are meshed in our culture, and we don't understand our deen properly, and we have our yani flaws. But I was thinking like, okay, so today, how do I address the youth that goes to universities that look down upon their brown heritage? What do I say to them? What conversations are they having
Mm.
in the universities? What conversations are they having in their MSAs, the Muslim Association groups, and their and the older Gen Zers and the later millennials who were so anti-brown, and oh, my parents are so stuck in culture. I'm not saying the parents suddenly became right. I am saying, okay, now will you address your true identity? Now do you understand what it means to be a Muslim, whether we are black or whether we are brown, whether we are from an Arab heritage or whether we are from a Southeast Asian heritage, or whether we are from whatever heritage? Do you understand what colonization is? Do you understand what white supremacy is? Understand the history. I don't want them to say, oh, yeah, they're bad and they're good. No, go beyond this. Go to the root, to the crux of it. The denial that we had that colonization was a thing of a past, and the so woke white people leading in these Ivy League universities doing lectures upon lectures and thesis upon thesis of how it was bad and how we are good now. Khalas,
Gone.
gone, gone.
Hmm. We're still living in that. We're still, me and you are from those countries that are still invading. That we're living that.
I think we should bring youth on our platform and see if what shift has happened with them. I mean, I'm Yani, I'm the parent and one of the people here. It's instructor, teacher, coach, whatever. I want to hear what the youth is thinking. I honestly, and you are young. You're very young, mashallah, and so what your people, what your generation is thinking and talking about. Can you shed some light on that?
I think growing up it was kind of, so for those who don't know, I am born and bred in the UK, from a Pakistani background. And we still have an identity crisis of, am I British, am I Pakistani? If I speak my language, what are people going to say to me, and how do they look at me? Or and then on the other side is, I have very much British culture activities that I do on a daily basis, because that's my identity too. And so it's a struggle because I'm coming from a generation whose parents and grandparents, should I say, came over from South Asia, and they are either the first or second generation, and that is difficult for them because on one side at home they are not speaking English, they speak in their native languages, and then outside they have to be another person. and they will join in on the conversation of, oh, how are those people are so backwards, but those people are my grandparents, but then it's a battle, like, who do I be and what do I be and how do I embrace that? Because I know if I was to go back to Pakistan today, I would be looked at like the white woman.
Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't be given the respect of a Pakistani. No, you are Britisher. They will make sure that they
Yeah.
bully you enough.
Exactly. And then here I'm looked at the brown person,
Yeah,
right? So there's like, where do I go?
yeah,
Which one do I respect the most? And for some reason, there is that battle of which one do I adopt, and there's not the battle of can I adopt both,
mhm,
because in both places you can't be both. You
yeah.
be either one or the other. And when we I think our youth are very zealous. I think they are passionate, mashallah, and we see that in praying in schools in the month of Ramadan when they want to pray or when they want to fast. Like for example, this year, so my girl's 8, she's gonna turn 9,
Inshallah.
and she said to me, "Mama, why can't I fast in school?" And it's only the last 2 years that they allowed to fast in schools. And she said, "Yeah, but she was telling me to do a jama'ah in school for Zohar, yeah." And I was like, at that age, so you must be about 9, 10, 11 to
Yeah,
do that. And I was like, at your age, we didn't have that in school.
yeah,
So seeing that difference is amazing. From I never did that in secondary school, primary school, and I thought, wow, mashallah. I think we are up leveling on our parent and embracing to a degree our Islamic culture as well, because that's a different culture too.
yeah,
So, so and I was just thinking about this the other day and thinking we have so many different cultures that we're embracing actually. So I'm embracing the British culture, the Islamic culture, the Pakistani culture, and all of these things and then the millennial culture. Oh, I'm a millennial, so that's a whole different thing, right? And I think we are coming to a stage where we are breaking down certain cultural norms that we have always abided by, that don't allow us to be free in our identity, but then we're also struggling with that as well, because the question of who am I is coming up a lot, a lot.
and and I made this question purposely towards somebody who is a younger millennial who is very young, who is connected, and like half of the people, probably you work with a lot of married women. I understand that, but they're young married women. They're not like women
Yeah,
in their 50s or 60s. So you're constantly working with girls and women who are not married, who are born brought up in Britain, who have that cultural identity flux. But I think the reason specifically I wanted somebody to hear this, because what I'm going to say next is today's situation begs us to have only one identity. I'm a Muslim.
yeah,
I'm a Muslim. Both of us are not from that part of the land, but we know the importance of that land, Al-Quds. We understand what it stands for, a Muslim. We understand why we are aching and paining, because because Prophet ﷺ said that we are like a body, and if any part of the body hurts, the whole body will hurt. And the desperation that we have to save them, and what our children are seeing, and they will not understand today. Children 5 4 5 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, probably 9 10 8 9 10. I think they can read history, like you said. We can teach them about al-Quds. There are so many children's books on Palestine. There are so many children's books on Muslim identity. Alhamdulillah, now is the time to buy those books, read those books, make those books available to your school libraries, to your massages, to your local schools, in your classrooms for the children, so that that is what you can do. That is what our child can do. When our child comes up to us and say, okay, mama, baba, what can we do?
yeah.
We can talk about our Muslim identity. That is the identity that
Education.
now we need to come back to. Who are you? I'm a Muslim. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Are you a terrorist? No. Do you support violence? No. We support humanity. We there are complex conversations. I'm not going to say like a 12-year-old needs to call out the hypocrisies of the world leaders. That's not their place. But their place is to understand that first Allah, foremost. When the adults like myself and others my age and the people older than me who have been working with diverse communities, diverse religions, and now they came out shocked, and you've seen this, oh, this Instagrammer or this influencer does not talk about this, or they should. In my head I'm like, who are they? Like 20 years ago, was there even an Instagram? For goodness sakes, was there Instagram 20 years ago? No, there wasn't. I think it's less than 20, right? So
Yeah.
it feels like donkey years now. Facebook was like, yeah, a lot of years ago, but still, 2007, 2005, 6, I think. Yeah, so still not 20. And I'm like, why are you expecting when people say, oh, call out Biden for, yes, call out Biden. Yes, that's a political statement. That's a
Mhm.
political thing. But to think that he can stop something, he is who? Any human being is who and what? We are in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think what I'm trying to say, Aisha, if I just like sum it up, I'm trying to say like this is the time to teach myself and the children and the youth that first Allah.
Go back
And
to your identity, your true identity, your true
first
fitrah. Yeah.
and you know what? No human being, no matter how grand their status in this dunya is, they're nothing in front of Allahu Akbar. Allah, Allah is Malik al Mulk, right? And this distortion that we had, that there are people who will come save us. Yeah, look at the videos. There's constant bombing happening, and sometimes I think when everything will go silent, how will those children react in silence after 20 some days of what is happening to them? How do you react to the post traumatic stress that's been going on? How will it turn into complex trauma? What is going to happen to their minds? How are they going to behave in their the children that the children that have survived, they're going to have it far worse.
Intergenerational trauma. So it's gonna have it's a knock-on effect for the next few generations, if they continue to be in the situation as well. And I agree with what you're saying here. Like, I think people are looking at it on a very surface level. And they're thinking, okay, what can I do for Palestine? Which is amazing. Please keep donating, sharing, awareness. All of that is amazing. But then the next step to that is, what are we doing in our houses? And
Yeah,
that's what the message we're trying to convey here is, what are we doing in our houses? And if we look at ourselves first, how are we helping the situation? People are reverting to Islam over this.
so
Why?
many people purchasing Quran and reading Quran, right?
Because of the faith of the Palestinians. Despite what has happened, they are still reciting the Shahada again and again and again and again, and we want to be those types of people who, despite what is going on around us, we come back to the Shahada again and again. And how can we do that? Is we keep doing what we're doing for Palestine, but we evaluate our houses.
Absolutely.
Evaluate our houses, and that's the message we're getting out here. This is how we're going to raise those mu'mineen that we want, and raising resilient Muslim children is to always take a situation and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I help myself to be able to help my children?
Absolutely. Inshallah ta'ala khair. There are no questions from anybody. If somebody wants to give a comment, then you're more than welcome, inshallah ta'ala, to give a comment. But we just wanted to, I think this was just us giving a platform to our tribe, to anybody watching, and saying that yes, these conversations are happening. Like Aisha said in the very beginning, articulate your emotions better, take care of your mental health, plug off from the constant news. You're not guilty for not seeing everything. You're not going to be guilty for not knowing everything. You're not going to be guilty for not scrolling through every second, because at the end of the day, our family has a right upon us, a right of us to take care of them, to be kind to them, to nurture them. You cannot nurture someone from when you're coming from a fragmented emotion, fragmented mindset, when you're coming from guilt, and when you're coming from constant, like, who is not choking? Who is not, which mu'min in this moment, Aisha, does not like when while eating food, while sleeping, while see, I have my work. I went to Pakistan recently on October 14th, between October 14th and October 28th, and I released my Urdu book. I did the work that I went to podcasts. I while everything was happening, the life does not stop.
No.
There everybody who is not in Gaza right now, who is not there, they've not stopped. And yes, life will go on, but consciously, by taking care of yourself, by increasing your iman and taqwa, by increasing, um like you said, read the history, read the history, know the history.
Hmm. It's
Mhm.
it's an opportunity to educate ourselves, isn't it?
Absolutely. We have to continue to work in a direction. We actually, nobody's doing anything much. We're just being forced in a direction. Allah subhanahu
Hmm.
wa ta'ala has shaped our way. If Allah would have waited for us to do anything, we all know where we were. Honestly. Allah has shaped our way. Let's take the best of this opportunity. Let's do something for ourselves, for our generations to come. Solidify our iman, solidify the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our hearts and in our children's hearts, because they are the one who are going to face the long-term consequences of what's happening.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, in if you haven't already, please join our Parent with Allah by My Side tribe group, WhatsApp group, because today what I'll do is I'll drop in a link that I watched yesterday of the history of our different Abrahamic religions and the current situation right now. It's about an hour's long, but you can also watch it and listen to it whilst you're doing your other things at home. But I really do strongly recommend to watch it more than once, and the second time to write notes. That's how I work anyway. Like I always listen to something, then I go back and then I write notes.
Inshallah.
Um, because it was really informative to know the different parts of history and why certain groups are saying whatever they're saying, and our stance on how we can help right now. So I
Okay.
will do that for you.
Is it good for teens? Do you recommend it for teens?
Um, yes.
Okay. 13
Yes,
and up.
it's easy enough. It's
Yeah.
easy enough to understand. However, I would always ask the parent to screen it first,
Yeah.
just to see, because every child is different, right? So
Do you
screen
have
it
a link
first.
to that? I can put the link here too. I don't know if other people listening are on the WhatsApp group. I don't have the WhatsApp link, but do you know the link so that if somebody is not on the WhatsApp group, then
If you could bear with me a second, I will send it to you.
sure, inshallah.
It was
Did you send it to me? Was this you?
no, that was not me.
Jazakallah khair, everybody. We have our while Aisha is looking for the information so that we can put it up here on our YouTube. Inshallah ta'ala, our parenting conference is coming soon on December 26th, 27th, 28th. Inshallah, we have a good lineup of speakers as well. Inshallah ta'ala, stay tuned with your emails and everything so that you can, inshallah ta'ala, bi'iznillah, attend the conference. Like every year, we will make more announcements about it. This is the link that Aisha is talking about. I'm going to make sure that my teens sit with me, take notes, listen to this. This is important. Um, this is
Yeah,
again
they will
learning
love it.
history.
It was very informative for me last night when I was watching it, and today I'll probably revisit it. And it also gave me the question of, oh, I didn't know this particular part. I need to go and revisit that, or ask someone who knows, so that can send me resources to learn more about this. So if that's going to happen to me, it's most likely everybody's going to want to learn more about it. So definitely, Allah, I think inshallah it will really help out a lot of families.
Inshallah ta'ala bi khair. Jazakallah khair, everybody, for tuning in. Like I said, join our, like Sister Aisha said, join the WhatsApp group. What's the name? I said Russian.
Some Muslim.
Some Muslims like was on a holiday to Turkey. I said Russians friendly. The shopkeeper said no, they're a hard stone. It's not the right answer. Most Muslims. So listen, we cannot educate other people. We can just educate ourselves how to respond to stuff. Honestly, people will always have different sentiments and different way to relate. I might not have the same compassionate answer right now because probably I'm highly dysregulated. But ask me after 2 hours. I'll be a different person. So yes, yeah, I mean that's the truth. People are not exactly what they're saying in the moment. There are a lot of things happening. So you're absolutely right. We cannot change how people should respond or what you can. We can just educate, and then inshallah people do what they need, what they do. Like today, like it hit. Like, come on, the
Yeah.
whole world is saying it is a genocide, and the people who are doing the genocide are saying no, it is valid. People will do what they want to do. May Allah have mercy on us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the hikmah and the wisdom to be people of truth, honor, carry out justice, be just amongst ourselves, be kind towards humanity, no matter what race, what color, what religion, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to hold us accountable for what I
Mm.
did, for what I've done. And that's what matters. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be on the right side of haqq. Ameen, summa ameen.
Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen.
Jazakallah khair, everybody. Thank you all for joining. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Aisha, I want you to say a dua, please.
Okay. So, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our du'as and grant us afiyah, grant us hikmah, so understanding, istiqamat, steadfastness in searching for the truth and searching for personal truth for you, regardless of what anybody else thinks. I mean, we also ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us goodness and light. And again, I'm going to say understanding of our character. So we ask Allah for good adab, which is our behavior. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for istiqamat, steadfastness in His deen and His deen alone, and grant us the understanding of our character. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you so much for all being here. And once you read this dua, I ask you to please put it into the comments and recite for us Ameen, so that we know that we all got this dua as well. Assalamu alaikum.